Hi, everybody. So, I'm taking this time out to share my sketchbooks with you guys because I'm taking the kind of turn. What happened is that recently I taught a couple of classes, and before that, I had been teaching some classes over at a Pennsylvania studio or Pennsylvania art school, something like that. It's just 2 semesters I taught there. Doing a gouache class, gouache portrait painting. So, and then recently I taught a class, a couple of classes of art. It was more arts and crafts, and not really a drawing class or something specific like the portrait class I had in Pennsylvania. And in Pennsylvania I was doing it on the Zoom, and then also for the second time I was asked if I would mind doing a demo for a group, and that was a great deal of fun. So what happened is after that I started working up in my sketchbook, thinking of just perfecting what I do. Just making sure that I practice, and I've always have. I've always had this this habit of drawing every day, of putting in my time and trying to get better at what it is that I do. And so what happened is that I've been doing that, and I've been gearing my sketchbooks more towards serious study, more towards, and I'm 60, and I've been drawing since before high school, but what happens is that right now I think that I'm really using my sketchbook in a way that I haven't in a long time, and just going over some things and thinking this. It's not enough just to know something, but to be able to teach it is another thing. And so I wanted to be able to practice in regards to, or not just practice, but come up with a way of how I would teach what I know, and more to be more equipped at being able to answer questions, and also just being able to explain what it is that I do. So I'm gonna just share with you guys my sketchbooks in terms of what I've been doing. Now, this sketchbook kind of started out. I wasn't getting there yet in terms of that idea of wanting to figure out, or to be able to explain what it is that I do. This is just practice, and so this is how I would let me see if I could give myself some space here. Move a little skeleton around somewhere. You can live over there. So just and it's hard to make sure I get the glare off of this. Yeah, that works. So just how I went about how I normally did. These are like sketches from my imagination. Some of these are sketches from life, and then I started thinking about some things in terms of how to explain some things. These are all from my imagination, not from life or from reference. This is from reference, but this is kind of before. This was watching a video on YouTube and kind of just going along. But here is just me trying to just get better at doing the things I do, like I normally would handle a sketchbook. But what happens is, around here I started to think, how would I explain doing what I do, and I was thinking about doing a book, right? And initially I was thinking about doing a book, And so I was trying to figure out, just kind of these grid patterns, and how to set up the thirds and break them up, and how to explain that, right? And also explain the oval and how you put the head together, and this combining it with a number of things. And this, not all of this looks all that great, but it was just more in line of my thinking, my thinking about the things, uh, putting things together, things that I've learned here and there, things like the Loomis head, the Riley rhythms, these grids, in the thirds and so forth, putting things in the thirds. And so I was starting to come up with this idea of putting a book together, right? But I just kept on drawing, kept on drawing, kept on trying to see how I would explain things, how I would use these grids to just change the shape or the spacing. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect thirds. I could just change, and then change the type of head, and that's one way. This is another way of just thinking of that grid as if it was a right here, as if it was a mask, and you put it onto a mannequin, right? Thinking that of using this grid that way. Also, what I didn't want to do was kind of like start a drawing and then take a picture, then continue drawing and take another picture. So I broke down the steps, and I did it over and over again each time. I figured for just even if I didn't do anything else with this, it was great practice, because each time, I'd break down the steps. And then this one, my idea was that how to explain that, what, this is the way that I drew, long ago, even before I had any idea of Riley rhythms or the Loomis head. Not that I'm proficient in either one of those things. It's just like a thing of constant practice. But it is something that I put into what I do, but this is a time where I didn't know any of that. So how did I approach it back then? Was breaking up these shapes, looking for the patterns of light and dark, defining it, and so I broke it up this way. This is quickly indicating shapes, kind of an envelope of everything, and not everything had to be perfect. It was the idea, if I put this down, if I put something down, I can continue to correct it, because the idea that I was taught was to think of drawing or think of painting as a sculptor would think of a lump of clay. You mold it, you shape it, you take things out, you put things in, you take things out again until you get what you want. And that was the idea of drawing this way, and then just developing the drawing until this would be the finished piece right here, right? And so I did each step individually. I didn't, like I said, I didn't start something, take a picture, then go back and work on it. So I have a record of how I would do this. This was along the same ideas. It's just, again, it's not perfect. It's not like very carefully planned or anything like. Well, no, it is planned, but I'm not precious over every line, and I just kind of quickly indicate things, and then continue to correct them. In each step, I would repeat what I did previously, and then add on to it, so that in the end, this would be the finish. And so I would try and save how I start and how I end up. This is just a quick indication of what I wanted to do. It's not something that was built up or how you might call it. It wasn't kind of like finalized like this one or the one before it. I wasn't looking to I wasn't looking to put that much of a finish in this, just kind of a quick thing. Uh, um, as long as I know everything was in the right place. But again, this is going back to a practice of working on the construction of the head, and not that idea of the drawing being like a lump of clay. So this is something similar. I actually I started this, and then I said, let me give an indication of how I would have started this. I mean, I did this finish, and then I wanted to give an indication how I started. This is quick from my head, from my imagination rather, just how I would draw the head. You know, using those different methods. You know, just a quick indication. This is I didn't even bother uh, um, to show the steps to this. I just wanted to do this drawing. Again, same thing from my imagination. Wanting to draw hands here, just for the heck of it. You know, it's just wanting to organize, especially this. I know this is hard to see. You know, maybe I can zoom in here and show, and you can see more or less how I worked all this. Confusing. I thought it was just a challenge to take something like this and just work it out, because it's you can see it's very complex. So I did that, and this is another drawing. And you know, some of these I had no intention of. I didn't have the same intent as wanting to show how to teach. Just some of these were just practice. Like this was just a practice page, you know. And this I put a little clip here because there's some nudes there, and I want to keep this safe for Facebook. I mean for Facebook, for YouTube. Here's a drawing again. This was done pretty recently, just for practice. Another practice, and also practice isn't just, you know, practice isn't just spending or putting in time. Practice is let me see how far I got with what I've learned, and how well I can demonstrate it. And so this is me. It's a confidence builder, you know. Again, a confidence builder, just working on how to make sure I can teach how to construct the head, right? So this was the sketchbook that I started this stuff in, right? Then I said, let me go ahead. Let me move this over here. Let me go ahead and continue on to another sketchbook. I have several sketchbooks. Some of them I work on simultaneously. And so when I initially thought of this idea as a book, I thought, let me start working this out more neatly, right? So this is a drawing again from my imagination, using the Loomis method of constructing the head and so forth. This is a drawing explaining that idea of when you have that grid and you draw the features on it, you can just wrap it around a mannequin. You know, as long as everything is in the right proportions. And that's all that grid is just measuring things out. Right? This is practice. And then this idea of wanting to show examples of the features, going beyond the construction, drawing the features, the eye in its socket, an indication of the skeleton, and so forth. And I'm just doing little illustrations of how I would explain all these things, the cartilage in the nose, and I started introducing a little color here, you know. And all of this in my sketchbook was just this idea of, how am I going to teach this? How am I going to explain these things, you know, to people? The idea of everything starts with a skeleton, with understanding the skull, the mouth here, that muzzle part, and the lips. So these are all examples of drawing lips and the mouth. A little bit of the nose there as well. Ears. How to draw the ear, basically the outer shape, and then drawing just that inside shape, and then refining it. Everything is about setting up and refining, complex things that would be complex, but you started off by just the simple big shapes and break it down, and then refine it. Then I wanted to explain how to do hair, something that is a challenge for me, something that's very difficult. But you know what? Everything is a matter of taking things in terms of looking at the big picture, and then breaking it down, and then refining it, and refining it further, so that you get you go from the simple to the more complex. You build it up, but you start with the big shapes first. Then you break it down into smaller and smaller shapes. And this was the same idea with the hair. The only thing is that I think this needed a step in between here and there, mostly for the features of the face. But the whole idea was being able to take this, you see the general shape of the hair, and then I put in some values here, and then refine that shape, and then again come up with a simpler, not simpler, I'm sorry, a more complex drawing in the end. This is a drawing. I was kind of happy with this one. This is a drawing of my son, my youngest son. But again, it's just breaking down the big shapes into smaller shapes, and I know somewhere in here I drew an in-between phase. Again, same things. I think that when I was still having the idea of doing a book on this stuff, I was refining the drawings that I had done earlier. But the whole, it's like, this is like 3 different things here in terms of things that I've learned, apart from the idea of building up the image like a sculptor, thinking like a sculptor, thinking of modeling clay. This idea is different. This idea is construction of the head based on Loomis, based on Riley, and then this grid, which I got from somewhere. I am not claiming any kind of authorship in terms of, I came up with some great idea. All it is stuff that's been passed down to us. I mean, long before there were even these names that I mentioned, there were names like Sargent and Rembrandt and Sorolla and a ton of others. And there's a whole lot of learning to be gotten, that we don't have to stick to just one method. Even though these methods are great, I have no complaint over them, but there's a ton of stuff. There's a ton of stuff that's available to us. Here's that extra step I wanted to put in previously of the drawing of my son. The self-portrait I did really quickly. Just putting all these ideas. This sketchbook was really dedicated to that idea of how I would teach. So all of these are like, and this was better paper than the previous sketchbook. Not that great paper, but better. And so I was trying to work out more refined drawings from then I was thinking again how to apply this to drawings from imagination, and just working it out. using the same methods. This is another page where, again, drawing from imagination. And this is another idea that I had saw some original drawings a long time ago by a cartoonist, right? And what I noticed he did when he worked out this shape of the head, it basically, this is a skull shape, but it also looks like a light bulb, to be honest with you. You know, it just fit right in there. And so, you know what, you can, again, just thinking of different ways of working out the image, you can just start with a shape, and as long as you have something down, you can continue to add, take out, correct it until you get what you want. You know, but I think the thing is that when you put something down, it isn't just haphazard. It has to be deliberate. It has to be from the very beginning. How, you know, the thinking of how am I going to work out what I have in my head or what I have in front of me. You know, this idea of using different shapes and applying this grid and coming up with different faces based on that. You know, this is practice. Again, practice. You know, just using several things here, just whatever I can. You know, just throwing it at the page, at the paper, and just trying to come up with how to do these things. You know. So, and there's another drawing where I didn't do the steps, but you know, it was all based on that practice, based on a circle, a square. You know, didn't matter as long as you can fit it in the box. You know, and you can partition it, make this grid, work things out, so that everything fits. This was just wanted to do another long drawing. You know, this was kind of have mixed feelings about this drawing. And then here we have more drawings in my sketchbook. And these drawings aren't just they are still connected to you know, the idea of how do I teach what I know. But about now I started thinking of you know what, videos rather than doing a book, and also reopening my Patreon page, which I had closed down a while ago. So so I was thinking of, you know, just restarting that, and taking what I know, what I've learned, and then just teaching it. Because having had that experience for the second time of doing the demo, I just really enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed the teaching part. This is, again, just doing the steps with that foundation. And then one of the things that I got really good at, you know, is drawing this circle. You know, it's like it's sometimes it was so hard to do a perfect circle. Well, these aren't perfect, but these are you know, these are pretty decent. So I said, you know what, all it really took was not resting my hand on the table. So I'm not drawing with my wrist, but lifting my elbow and drawing with my arm, taking my time, concentrating. Is just a circle, but it's like everything is important, right? So I made it a point to wanting to learn how to draw a decent circle and not a sloppy circle. Again, another drawing with these things in mind. So this is the sketchbook I've been working on. I just wanted to share it with you guys and explain what it is that I'm doing, and want to not only put more videos on YouTube in terms of how to draw and or drawing demos and so forth, but also just going back to my Patreon page and doing things a little bit differently now, because I think that one of the things is that before I was kind of like all over the map. I was doing fan art, I was doing illustration, I was just posting everything like it was Facebook or Instagram, rather than concentrating on one thing. So this one thing is going to be all about teaching drawing portraits, painting portraits, drawing and painting portraits. You know, so it's going to be all about that, and specifically, you know, just the idea of I'm not tied to any particular method, although you know, I have learned and continue to learn these different methods, but you know, it's just like as I go on and I progress, I'm also sharing things as I grow. I share what I know. All right, so that's my video. I hope you guys enjoyed looking at my sketchbooks, and I will be back on YouTube with more videos. In the meantime, please leave a comment. Let me know if you're interested in my reopening my Patreon page, specifically to teach how to draw and paint portraits. All right, so thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging with me for this long, and I will be back with another video. Bye bye.